Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie, and welcome back to Secondhand Sickness. So today I'm actually standing on the streets of Gothenburg. I'm traveling here for work, and I was taking a stroll during lunch and I actually spotted this really cool little sort of record shop. And it seems like it has quite a bit of sort of movie memorabilia and stuff, as you can see in the window here. So I thought we would actually go in and check this one out. So yeah, let's go. Tjena! Ja, det stod kommer strax, tänkte att det kanske inte var någonting. Det stod kommer strax på dörren. Ja, det blev lite oroligt. Right, so that was actually pretty cool. Did find some stuff in there, so hopefully you'll like to see what I found. But I'm not going to be able to show this now, so I am going to get back to work, and then I'll just follow up on this later. So see you then. Alright, so I'm back in my hotel room. I can actually check out the view, which I have to say is pretty decent. Living at the Gothia Towers in Gothenburg. It's really a fine hotel. So anyway, this is a little bag that I brought back from the second-hand shop that I visited. So I thought we would actually go through this just a little bit on the fly, so I don't have to wait until I get back. And I'm gonna see, some of this is a little bit uncensored, but hopefully I'll be able to censor it by hand. So let's see. First thing that I found, which was quite surprising to me, was actually a Japanese VHS tape of Forrest Gump. And to be honest, I don't see Japanese VHS tapes in secondhand shops too often. And usually when it happened, there tends to be more than one tape for some reason. I guess, you know, maybe they got a bunch of them, like a batch from some collector or something. But in this case, I actually only found the one tape. But I don't know, it's not like Forrest Gump is a film I would probably have picked up in general. I mean, it's a great movie, but it's not like I generally collect Japanese tapes for drama and comedy. But then again, seeing as I found this, I thought it was a nice pickup, and it only cost me 30 Swedish crowns, which I'm sure is a, you know, decent price. I mean, for Japanese tapes, it feels like they tend to go for more. There might be a little bit of fading on this, but overall, I think it looks to be in pretty good shape. Usually the reds are the colors that will fade the first for some reason. You can see here on the back, I think that the reds are a little bit more vibrant than they are on the spine and on the front. But overall, still pretty good shape. Not sure if I need to open this. Not sure if I never mind. There's a Japanese tape inside, not too interesting to see. But that is the first and actually the only tape I picked up today. I was hoping to get more VHS tapes, but that was the only one that I found that was of interest. Now the next thing in the bag here is actually a comic book. This is something I had seen before, which is a Swedish comic book magazine, which is a movie tie-in for the movie Return of the Jedi, the Star Wars Return of the Jedi from the original franchise. And I'm not entirely sure who made this cover art, but I think it's a really cool cover, and I felt that this would definitely be a magazine which I might actually place in, you know, a frame of some kind and maybe hang it on the wall, just because it is actually quite a cool cover design for this vintage comic. And I'm not exactly sure about the year on this. Pretty sure it's from the 80s. Let's see if we can get a copyright. Yeah, so this is copyrighted 1983. Not sure if you have a Curious who the artist is. I realized that the shape isn't the best. Some of the pages are actually coming off. But then again, I just bought this because I felt that, you know, it would be nice to be able to flip through this. And also just, you know, for the cover alone, I think that would be a nice piece to hang on the wall just for this design. So that is the second pickup. This costs me a little bit more actually. This was 45 Swedish crowns. So that's maybe like 4 or 5 euro thereabouts. So not a super high price. I think this tends to go for more, but not like a huge amount more. I'm not going to say that this was like a super fine or anything, but I think I saw one of these on Swedish eBay and I think it went higher than 45. Then again, maybe not in the best of shape. You know, seems like the pages are not really staying in there. The glue might be pretty bad. But yeah, that was the second pickup for 45 Swedish crowns. Now the next one, I think I'm going to have to censor a bit, so let's just... let me take a look at it, see how I can, I'm just gonna tilt a bit so I can censor this by hand. So this next one is a Swedish magazine, which is called FIB-Aktuellt, and this is basically like, you know, basically like a Swedish version of Playboy. So this does have a girl on the cover, which has sort of like a bit of a wet t-shirt on. But this is a issue from 1977. It is from December of 77 actually. And yeah, it's essentially what it is. I'm not really gonna flip through this. I don't even know if it's interesting, but this is a pretty typical magazine from the 70s. Here's a picture of the back, some of these vintage ads. And I don't know, I don't think it's not like it's a porn mag, you know, I'm not gonna flip through there's like, you know, everything's uncensored. It's more of an early Playboy mag where they would be typical sort of sports articles, or, you know, generally articles about stuff that guys like in general. Not that I am into sports, but yeah, I was still pretty happy to get this on account of the cover and the fact that it was fairly cheap. Let's see how we do this. Let's just do this. I can tell you that this magazine cost me 10 Swedish crowns. I'm just gonna place it underneath like that so I don't have to think about censoring it in post-production. So that's the next one. Now we get to another one, which is also uncensored. Oh god, how am I gonna censor this? So yeah, I'm just gonna have to do this like this, I guess. So here is another uncensored magazine. This is more of a pornographic mag, and this is from 1978. It is called Coquette, which is basically, I think the English translation would be coquettish, if I'm not misremembering, I think so. So yeah, this cost me 20 Swedish crowns. I have a lot of these type of magazines, these sort of smaller type, sort of half size A4. I don't know what that is. Is that A5, I think? Yeah. Or A3, whatever. So yeah, this was pretty cheap and I tend to pick these up if I find them. This is not a series which I own from before. I haven't actually seen this Coquette magazine. It's not something I think I own in my collection already. So, I mean, not a must-have, but it was cheap. 20 Swedish crowns is basically what I would pay for these type of magazines. So yeah, still pretty happy to find that. And now I'm just going to wonder if I can show you the back. Yeah, I can show you the back. So there's the back in case I censor it. And yeah, I'm not sure if you want to read any of the fine print, doesn't really matter. I'm not pretty sure, I can't really flip through this. No, this is very uncensored. This is essentially a hardcore mag. So yeah, cannot show this. But we're actually going to hide this as well. So just give me a second to move things around so you can so you cannot see it actually. So might actually do something like that. So now we still have a bit of an overview of the things that I purchased, but you don't have to look at the nipples. Oh God. Just shield me from the nipples. So that's what we got so far. So not a whole lot of money, but then again, it adds up. So now I think we have the last item in the bag, which I believe was also the most expensive, not by a lot. So this is another issue of a Star Wars comic book magazine. And this is Star Wars, and this is not a movie tie-in, but rather like a, you know, freestyle, or it's not canon, it's not something that's part of the Star Wars universe. I don't know where this story comes from, but this English translation would be In the Claws of the Empires. And I don't really know anything about this. I just saw this cover and thought that, this shot of 3PO just felt like a very sort of, I don't know, this just look at this guy. I mean, it just made me smile because it feels like he was very poorly drawn, and this definitely feels like, I mean, this is part of the same series. You can see that you have the same logo for the top. So I guess they basically had a lot of different sort of artists doing this. And I have to say that I much preferred the style of this compared to this. But this was also part of why I wanted to get it, because it felt like such an ugly cover, to be honest, compared to the first one. And I haven't really flipped through this, so I don't know if the style of the drawings is different between the two. And I would think so. I don't think that the drawings are all that bad, to be honest. Curious to see is... Yeah, look at that. So 3PO actually is quite poorly drawn. I have to say that he has a very sort of specific look, which I don't particularly associate with what we see in the movie. Then again, I have no idea, in terms of comic book history for Star Wars. I don't know if this is like someone who went on to make more Star Wars comics or anything like that. But I am actually curious to just flip through this one a little bit to see. But yeah, here you can see we actually have a much more movie-like 3PO. So yeah, this is definitely a different artist. I mean, look at that. That is actually a pretty good rendering of Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, I think. So yeah, I haven't flipped through this yet, but I was definitely most interested to get this one because it's the movie tie-in. I think that those tend to be of higher value, which was surprising that this was actually priced lower than this one. This was 65, I believe. No, it's actually 70 Swedish crowns, whereas this was only 45. So this would be about €7. This would be about €4.5. But that is essentially the last thing that I got in the box. So this is essentially it for everything that I picked up today. So this would be 175 Swedish crotches, 175 Swedish crowns is what I meant to say, for the entire lot, which would be roughly 17 and a half, or €18 if we're rounding up. So €18 for the entire lot, which I think was a pretty nice deal. Maybe some of them are worth more, some of them might be worth less, but overall I am actually pretty happy with this pickup. So in any case, I'm guessing that is it from me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video as usual, even though it was made kind of on the fly and I wasn't really sort of having all like the white backdrop and super nice sort of tripod setup or whatever. But hopefully it was okay. So I want to say thank you very much for watching, and as usual, hope to see you all next time.